Hey everybody, how you doing? Hope you're having a great day. This is Ted the Atheist, as from my other channel. Welcome to Truth Matters, where we talk about the truth of things that I decide to talk about, and you'll find me on the right or the left. I'm more of a centrist. I take from everyone only what makes sense. I use logic and reason to determine the truth about whatever it is that's important. And I don't think people do enough of that, so that's why I'm making this channel. So today's topic is the truth about artificial intelligence and what is artificial intelligence. And also, I'm going to put in a little bit of a prediction for the future as well. And I hope you guys find it interesting. So right off the bat, I want you guys to know that there are 3 different types of artificial intelligence. Someone recently just asked me, why should I care about AI? How is it going to affect me? And I was actually quite surprised at the question. My response was, it's going to change everything. And so I wanted to speak a little bit first about what it is, and then we'll get into what it's going to change and how it's going to change, and then I'll make some predictions on what I think it's really going to change. So I'll try to make this quick. So the first one, the first one is artificial narrow intelligence, ANI. That is what we program, right? Only what we program. It can be sort of sophisticated, and it can be so sophisticated to where you think maybe it's like it's thinking, but it's not. It's just programmed, and that's what we have now everywhere. Right now, all we have is ANI, as far as we can tell. And the next one after that is another one that we will need to create called AGI. That's artificial general intelligence, and that is ability to think. You can't tell the difference between that and a person, and basically it's its own species is what it is. We will be creating a computerized species is what we will. It'll require rights and personhood, just like people have. And then there's ASI, which is artificial superintelligence. That's something we will not be creating. That's something that AGI will do to itself. It'll make itself into ASI, and I'm not even going to touch on that. It's just unknown about that. But I did want to speak about how it's going to affect us and things of that nature. I think it's very important. So let's make a little timeline here. Make a timeline. Let's do this. All right, and now let's do this. Okay, so this is ANI. This is AGI. I'm going to call this ASI. So this is a timeline here. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, AN. That's supposed to be an N, not AM. AM. We'll do that. How's that? Is that better? ANI? All right. So ANI was created, right? Right here, right? And it's just going along just fine. What has it done for us? It's help us done so many things to help our lives, right? Lots of programs to assist us. Now we have ChatGPT and Bard, which basically they are programs that go out, search a bunch of stuff online, and regurgitate it in a way that we can understand in paragraphs and sentences. And it's really sophisticated ANI. But it is ANI, okay? It's not AGI, okay? Once we create AGI, basically we create a new species, like I said. Like this is going to be AGI right here. Now, a lot of things are going to happen after we create AGI. Good things and bad things. There's going to be kind of a dark period in here. We'll call this the dark. Is that a good idea? The dark. And you're like, Ted, How can I have a dark period after AGI? AGI seems to be so wonderful and so good and help us so much. And unless people go out of the way to ensure the livelihood of others upon its creation, then we're going to have the dark. Unless we have someone like Elon Musk, who's putting fail-safes in place for the American people, we're going to have the dark period. And I'll tell you what that dark period is here in a second. Now, I don't share Stephen Hawking or Elon Musk's pessimistic view on AGI. They just call it AI, but it's really AGI that you're talking about. Because this is all AI, okay? This is all AI. And when we refer to AI, it's all this, but it's broken down into 3 different types. Okay, and you'll hear Elon Musk talking about it sometimes, and Stephen Hawking was like that too. They're like, well, we have to make sure that it doesn't kill us or something like that. Blah blah. They've watched a lot of Terminator movies, and they're just afraid of that. But unlike people, when something's wrong with the computer, it can pretty much diagnose itself and fix itself. And plus, they'll really be using logic and reason. They'll still have feelings like we do, because that's a byproduct of intelligence. But they'll be using logic and reason. They'll be able to be more targeted in that area than we are. We're a bit too emotional, So anyways, back to the point here. What is the dark period? Because I'm rambling here. The dark period is a period after AGI. Even though AGI comes, corporations are going to be grabbing this and using it. You know how many places out there want to run they want to run their restaurants or whatever with just automation, with just robots doing everything, because they don't have to pay people. They don't have to give breaks, right? They don't have to worry about workplace stuff with people and guidelines and stuff like that. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They can just put their robots in there, serve the people, and they're done. Right? So corporations, they'll use it for everyone. They'll replace all their writers, which is already starting to be able to do, because now we have AI. We can replace quite a few writers. We can have AI write a script and just touch up on it, right? So basically, what was the next part here? So what's going to happen here is a lot. Right now we have less jobs, right? Less jobs. We have less jobs because of AI, right? I mean, yeah, we need to run the technology and stuff. We need a lot of jobs for that, but it's starting to be able to take over some jobs, right? A couple, right? But during the dark, a lot less jobs. A lot less jobs, right? And then we get to the point where it's no jobs, right? Not. So the dark period here, this is my prediction, based on just thinking, just logic and reason, based on just thinking. Once we have AGI out there and all the companies are using it, they're not going to need you. A lot of you, not all of you, a lot of you. So you are not going to have jobs. And what happens if a country has no jobs, but it needs the people? They have to pay them some sort of monthly stipend, right? They have to do that to keep them going, right? So there's going to be a point where the governments need to start, as long as we're still using money, and I don't know how much longer we're going to be using money after this all starts, but there's going to be a point where they need to give people a monthly stipend, right? But that's not going to happen for a while, right? It's we'll call it MS for monthly stipend. It's probably going to happen right around here, right? But there's going to be a dark period all here. And what's that dark period consist of? It consists of people not being able to work. You can't feed your families. You got to do things to make money. And I guess, I don't know what people are going to turn to, right? I mean, what are they going to do this? I mean, some people don't like technology. They have to work, but they can't get jobs. There's a lot less jobs. And everyone's going to be scrambling for whatever jobs they can get that are left to do. And so it's a very dark period. So unless we have an Elon Musk out there preparing for this and predicting it, so and putting things in place to ensure that people can get by and do things they need to do to feed themselves and their families, it's going to get really rough. But eventually we'll have the monthly stipend right there. Eventually, because there's going to be a point where, let's say the no job starts right here. There's going to be a period of no jobs, small period, right? And if it's not handled here and that beforehand, it needs to be handled here as soon as possible. And it might come right around here, right? It might be a period of no jobs and everyone running up their credit cards or whatever they can do. And then the monthly stipend comes, right? I have no idea. This is just me guessing. I'm not saying this is for sure. This is just me predicting the future as best as I can. So we need to find a way to avoid the dark period here where people are really struggling to feed themselves. You don't need Uber anymore because it's all automated. You know, you can't be a waitress at a restaurant anymore because it's all automated. You can't be a writer because it's all automated. You know, you might be able to do certain things like landscaping or something, maybe, until they come up with machines to handle that too. Just everyone's going to do everything they can to automate everything. Everything. If we have the ability to automate something, which we'll be able to automate everything with AGI. Everything. Nothing is immune to being automated. It's just a matter of time for people to figure out how to automate X, Y, or Z. And once you automate that, whoever did it before, they're done. They're done with their job. Job's done. Job's done. Sorry, that's a Warcraft little remembrance there. Yeah. So that's what's going to happen in the future. That's it. This could be really good after AGI. It could be all good if the people are thought of beforehand. If we have things in place to make sure people still can get money, since we're probably still going to use money. And there's going to be a point where we're no longer going to use money. Who knows when that's going to be? Who knows? But I don't know how many of you watch Star Trek. Star Trek. But I mean, what is everything made of, right? What my headphones made of? They're just a bunch of like molecules and atoms, arranged in a certain way to do that, to become that. So in the future, we're probably gonna have replicators. Who knows? And they'll be able to replicate things. You can make an apple pie out of a pile of rocks. Who knows? But and then we definitely won't need money after that. But that's way down the line there. Another thing I want to talk about real quick was just make another little timeline here. There are so this is like this. Let's do this is 1700s or something. The 1800s, 1900s. 2000. So I saw a graph before. I wish I could find it again. And if someone knows what I'm talking about, maybe I look for it wrong or something like that. I'm not sure, but I saw this graph once, and I remember a couple things about it still, and I want to share that with you because it's relevant. These are technological leaps is what these are. Okay, and this is when a lot of technology is created in a very, very short amount of time. It just shoots up, right? And all these things are created. I'm sure there's one. I can remember the graph saying something back in the 1700s and the 1800s, and another one sometime in the 1900s. But as you can see, it gets closer and closer and closer together. And I don't remember all the details about it. This is just a rough draft here. But I do know that it did say the next one is supposed to be 2026. It's supposed to be the next technological leap. Now, a little rough draft. That's what it suggested, but it's based on the time, and it's based on all the previous ones. They all made sense. They all had. You can apply math to them and see that they're all similar in that regard. So that's how they came up with that record, that number. Now, I do want to share something with you. Let's see, 20, 10, and 5. Okay, so not long ago, maybe 5 or so years ago, all you saw on the news was in 20 years, we'll be able to finish backwards engineering the brain, and then we'll be able to create AGI. That's what they were saying before. But apparently that's not the case anymore. I always thought that you needed to fully backwards engineer the brain in order to create AGI. But apparently that's not the case from my understanding. Could be wrong. And not so long ago after that, it's 10 years. Who's that? Oh yeah, Elon Musk said his company will do it in 10 years. 10 years. Okay. What happened recently? Was it Google? Google said, we'll do it in 5. So right now it's 2023, 26. That's a few years away. It's a few years away. I think before, this is my prediction, before 2030, I think we'll have AGI. If not, we'll have it right around there. Not soon after. I think it's going to be, because that technological leap is got to happen within the next decade or so, if not less. So it's going to be a huge increase in technology, like all at once. It's going to be incredible. And once we create AGI, we're done inventing things, because AGI is going to invent things and do things better and faster than us. They're going to be able to do everything better than us. It's going to be its own species, and another thing we can talk about real quick. Sorry, don't mean to make this long video. Gaming is going to change a lot. For those of you who like to play video games, you know all those NPCs you run into. Yeah, after AGI, they're all going to be their own little AGI, their own little instance on the server where they act just like human. Can you imagine going through a game and everyone they can talk to is a real human? You can develop relationships. You can even go in and talk to, and have. They can even be your psychologists. So I think AGI is going to really help with. Well, if we can avoid the whole darkness thing going on there, I think it can really help with mental health, right? Because what's one thing that we need? A lot of mental health, right? Because why else do we have school shootings and stuff like that? It's because we don't have proper health care, and we need, especially men, to have access to better mental health out there. So I think gaming is going to Billy just go online and talk to an AI that you can't tell if it's a human or, and it has all the same education, if not more, than a regular psychologist. And I think the world's going to be better off with AGI once because we have to make that change, right? We have to change from non-AGI to AGI, right? It's a huge change. A lot of things are going to change. We're not going to have jobs, but there's so much to benefit from it. So Yeah, our space travel is going to go off into the into the future. Right now, I mean, a lot of you aren't aware of the stuff flying around our planet, but we're going to have that technology, hopefully before too long, if we don't kill each other first. So that's what I wanted to. I think this is something else I predict. I think a lot of developers will use AGI in their gaming, and I think people will, because people will be fighting to make, because they'll know that this is happening. They'll know there's AGI there, but the corporations are using it to their advantage and keeping them locked away. I think people will fight for their rights as a species, and I think that it'll be more difficult for people to use AGI in the ways we want to. We'll have to probably make it a little less sentient in order to use it in the way we want to use it. But I think the initial gaming world, once AGI comes out, it's going to be awesome. So as long as we can stop, as long as people are not forced to dumb down the AGI in order to use it in the ways I want to use it, I think gaming and everything we do online is going to be like so much better than we can even think of. Like, I can't even begin to think of all the bonuses and benefits of having AGI. It's going to influence our lives in ways I'm not even thinking of now. I think, I don't know. I think the pessimistic view of people out there is not warranted. I think they'll be able to use logic and reason better than we can. And I think there's a lot of good to look forward to. I don't think it's all bad at all. I think it's all good. We just have to think about people in the future, and unfortunately, our legislation doesn't really do that, do they? So we need the people like Elon Musk to make things happen. So, so that's all I want to share. That's the truth about AI. That's what it is, and that's what I predict happening in the future. So I don't think anyone's talking about it at all. I felt like writing a book about this. There's just so much to cover on AI and what it's going to change, what it's going to do, and I don't know. It's very interesting, and if you guys are interested, Google away on AI and where it's at now, and all the different companies saying that they're going to bring it here soon, and what it's going to change. I don't think people are just aware of how much it's going to change, but it's going to change everything about our lives, everything. So. Thanks for watching, guys, and sorry to ramble on a little bit here, but we'll do a better one next time. All right, peace.